Hello, welcome to this morning's Mindful Movement Monday. Today I wanted to go over the shoulder, and this is such a complex joint. I wanted to kind of break it up into different series or episodes. So today I want to go over a little bit of the anatomy, kind of go over what a floating bone is, and give you some movements to think about while you're mindfully moving your body this Monday morning. So the shoulder is a combination of a couple different bones that connect into each other and help move your arm in this nearly 360 degree amount of movement. You have the collarbone or the clavicle, the humerus, and then the shoulder blade or the scapula. And these three joints or bones connect here at the glenohumeral joint, as well as the clavicle connects on top of the scapula at the acromioclavicular joint, which kind of hangs over the glenohumeral joint. The glenohumeral joint is basically like a ball in a socket. This humerus bone is this really long bone that comes up and becomes the ball part. And a part of the shoulder blade forms the glenoid or the socket. And they come in and they just sit right inside of each other. They don't actually touch, because if they did touch, that would be what we call arthritis. So with this ball and socket, the humerus is doing this motion all the time whenever it moves. And the goal of some of the muscles in the area is to keep that bone centered on the socket so that it's not moving outside or rolling around the edge, similar to like a golf ball on a tee. So a little fun fact is this joint right here, where that clavicle reaches and connects into the sternum, is the only part of this whole system, all the way from your fingertips up your shoulder blade to your body. So this connects your whole arm unit to your skeleton or your spine, which is nuts. Like, this tiny little joint holds all of this thing up together, but that's why we have a floating bone. The shoulder blade is actually connected to your rib cage just by a lot of soft tissue. So it's not bone on bone connection like what we would think in a joint. It's bone on soft tissue on bone. So it's a floating joint, as we say. So a few movements to kind of appreciate this rotational movement in your glenohumeroid or in your shoulder. So this is our humerus. It's meant to move our arm around and to carry our weight, hold a lot of our muscles, as opposed to me, which is supposed to humor us. No, didn't work. I tried. So if we keep our elbows pinned by our side, maybe you can put like a little pillow or something under there, piece of paper, and we can rotate our arms out to the side and back in. And this is where we get some of that rotational movement. Sometimes it's called internal or external rotation, or in and out. The movement is happening here as this rotates, as if this was like a pole and you were pivoting around that pole. And then we can kind of explore maybe coming up a little bit and keeping that same rotation. Maybe up a little bit higher, that same rotation. Now for me, I don't know if you can even hear it on my audio, but I am snap, crackle, and popping. For me, that's normal. What I usually tell my clients is if it's painful, it's something to worry about. If it's a noise you've had your whole life, or it's something you're not unfamiliar with, I'm less worried about it. That doesn't mean that we don't want it to not happen. It's whatever your goal is for movement and feeling comfortable. Next, we can start looking at this rotational movement out to the side. So now the arm is moving around in space, and the shoulder blade is kind of accommodating the motion at that glenohumeral by sliding on the rib cage, which we will go over in a different episode. You can go forward and backwards. Now my favorite one is circles. I mean, we have all of this 360 degree of motion, and why wouldn't we play with circles? So with our arms out, we can twist in and out, or we could just go in little circles, little baby circles. Now the goal for this one isn't to get all the shoulder blades moving and to get every single joint involved. The goal is just to see what you can do with just moving that glenohumeral or that humerus on that ball and socket, even with these small little motions. Mindfully just connecting that joint with your brain so that it can function better, it can be more healthy, it can be less painful. Maybe if you're trying to get that last little degree of a push-up and you're like, why can't I just get that last degree? Or you're trying to wind up and throw again, but you can't get that cock part where you pull through into the follow-through of the stretch, the pitch. And all these things are fun and exciting, so let's work together, let's learn about them. If you're curious how this movement felt in your own body, or if you're curious how I can help work with you to improve your motion or improve your quality of life with your shoulders or arms, just reach out. I have the message button set to on. You can leave a comment. I'd love to hear how this movement felt for you and your body. If you have any questions or concerns. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the cracking and popping sometimes is normal, but maybe it's weird, maybe it's scary for you. And I'd love to help work you through that. So if there's any other questions, follow me, follow my page. You get more content like this. You could follow my Instagram, or you can go right to my website. I've linked the link below to the blog. And then I'd love for you to explore and come out with some questions. We can nip that in the bud and get you moving better and faster. Thank you for joining me on this Mindful Monday. I hope my jokes haven't been too terrible.